you were a pioneer when it came to promoting, the way that you would get under your opponent's skin. You were merciless at press conferences, on social media. You were one of the first guys to do that. What would you say would be your favorite rivalry from your career? One where you just love the entire lead up.
Oh, Anderson Silva, definitely. Both of them. Part 1 and 2 was definitely a highlight for me. All the way down, press conferences like you mentioned, but the weigh-ins were packed. I mean, we were setting every record there was. We had the live gate record. We had the pay-per-view record. And that was just fun. That was just good, solid fun. Also, the matches themselves were fairly competitive, and I had a chance to win. He could beat me at any time. I could beat him on any night. It was just one of those things where you never knew what was going to happen, but you wanted to make sure a lot of people were watching just in case something special happened. And I think something did special happen. It just maybe more happened for him, but that's the way that goes.
I mean, it's interesting because so many people have copied what you've done when you would promote fights. One of my favorite ones, something that doesn't really stand out to people, is the lead up to your fight with Brian Stann, because Brian Stann, you have this guy who's, a face in many ways, a guy that everybody respects. And a lot of fighters will just trash talk whoever they have fighting. You said you wrote him in to become president. You said how much you respect the guy, but then you would kick his ass at the end. Do you think people are kind of, when they're trying to copy you, they don't understand there's different levels to this depending on the guy that they're fighting? You don't always have to tell a guy that you're going to beat him up. I know you've surprised people from time to time with your approach to the build-up to certain fights in your career.
I do think that it needs to be authentic. Now, everybody can have their own code and do whatever they want, but I think you're even starting to see this from Conor McGregor, and I realize there's a little PR mess that he was in and he's trying to get out of it, but either way, it's still refreshing and very fun. The way he built up that Donald Cerrone fight, what was the great line he had? There's going to be blood, but it's not going to be bad blood. I mean, that's a simple line, but it's a compelling line. And one thing that I don't like is when something's fake or manufactured. Nothing disgusts me more. Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis comes to mind. Josh Koscheck versus George St. Pierre comes to mind. You have all this great buildup, and the second the fight's over, the guy grabs the microphone and says, "That was just for hype." That's a lie. You're selling me something. I'm parting with my money and my time to buy something. There's nowhere in the world. That's called fraud. Fighters try to call it hype. Well, if it's hype, it's fraud. If it's fraud, give me my goddamn money back. And I've never thought it was fair. I never thought it was right. And if you're going to manufacture something, take it to your grave. And but for me, I don't want to do that, man. If the guy's a good guy, I'll say he's a good guy. The truth was, I got matched up with a bunch of scumbags, and I didn't mind calling them scumbags.
I'm just wondering, because sometimes after the fight, you'd kind of be cordial with some of the guys. Who were the guys that took it the most personally, who bought into it the most and kind of never got over the build-ups to some of your fights?
You'd have to put number one at the list was Tito Ortiz. And Tito was a weird one, only because I knew him for 20 years. I'd beat him in college. He beat me in the pros. We're one apiece. Let's just shake hands and walk away. But the fact that he won and was such a jerk about it, was just baffling to me. I've never really had to deal with a bad winner before. I've dealt with sore losers, but I've never dealt with a sore winner. So that one was more just odd and confusing. But I would have to say Tito. I mean, Tito's gone as far as to demand that I publicly apologize to him. And it's like, well, Tito, the ass whipping I took in front of that's kind of the punishment for this. You don't then get you don't get a paycheck and an apology.